So I have a few questions. I like throwing some curveballs before we talk about South of Heaven. If you could get the financing to make anything you wanted, what would you make and why?
I would like to make my dream, The Incredible Shrinking Man. The reason I want to do it is because it's one of the greatest, I think sci-fi film ever made. But I think that with today's, technology, there's a way of making it of a more like a survivalist thriller. So I would do it ways of Revenant, like a Revenant version of the Incredible Shrinking Man, and that's my dream project. If I had all the money in the world, I'll probably do the Incredible Shrinking Man and do something very bizarre, violent, but still keep that beautiful, heartbreaking ending.
That would be an interesting take on the material. Um, yeah, I wonder. The, I'm wondering who would finance that because it would be a expensive movie with VFX.
Yeah, I'm just
Um,
imagining a fight with a cat that is more like the fight with the bear in Revenant, if you know what I mean.
no, 100%. So a number of years ago, you worked on obviously Big Bad Wolves. A number of years ago, Quentin Tarantino called it the best film of 2013. What was your reaction when you heard he said that?
It was like I was amazed because he was one of my, he still is one of my idols, with the Coen brothers, of course. And I think I was surprised, very surprised. I'm coming from a very humble home. I'm this, I was a film critic and a film scholar. I never thought of making films. And then suddenly, I worked with my student back then. He lured me into making films with him. That's Navot. And then, suddenly he's putting a projector light on you. So that was amazing. But for me, I'm the kind of guy who just says, okay, he gave me my projector. He said this beautiful things he says, and I want to, evolve and develop in my own, wherever I need to go. So it was amazing. He opened doors for us. You just, you never expect things like that, and it was a beautiful thing for him to do. And he's still a supporter, so it's great.
So you premiered South of Heaven in the Beyond Fest. What did it mean to you to premiere it there?
It was for me. Beyond Fest represents the kind of audience that I'm looking for, because you probably saw South of Heaven. It's a basket case kind of movie. It starts dramatic. It goes to a whole darker place, and so for me, I know there's an audience for it, and usually those audiences are, you could find them in genre film festivals. So Beyond Fest is one of my favorite festivals. I was there only as a as audience up until then. They wanted Big Bad Wolves to premiere there, not premiere, but be there in 2013, and it didn't happen. So when Evrim and his fellows says, "Come over to Beyond Fest and screen this movie with us," I just say, "Well, that's going to be the best crowd in the world." And it went amazing there, because they really they're fine with everything crazy that happens in a movie of this sort, and that's the kind of audience I'm looking for. That's the kind of actors that respond to the script, and that's the kind of audience I need. Because it's all, it's crazy.
Yeah, it definitely. We're going to get into that. It definitely is a mixture of genres because it. Well, actually, we can just talk about it. But like, it's funny at times, it's dark at times, it's heartbreaking at times. It mixes a whole bunch of different things together. I guess could you? What was that appeal to you to sort of mix every, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just one thing.
It's just the way I'm wired. I just cannot think of a one tone kind of script. It happened to me with Rabies and Big Bad Wolves, and now in this one, I guess because I'm not bipolar, but I think my persona has these ups and downs, and I'm very funny at real life, but I'm a very sad clown in real life too. So I think for me it was like almost natural to be jumping around from one end to another. But the way I write is that I want to give the audience the best roller coaster, emotional roller coaster they could have in a film. Because when I watch today's movies, I like a lot of movies. I'm a cinephile. Um, but what I see is that there's usually one tone to two tones, and you could guess the entire movie from minute 5 till minute 120. So as a writer and a filmmaker, I just want to make something that will not feel that way, that will not feel derivative, that will not feel that you've seen this movie so many times. So usually what I try to do, and I did it in both my first movies, is give you a little bit of something that you're sure you watch. Like in Rabies, it's the slasher in the woods. In Big Bad Wolves, it's the cop who investigate a crime, and he thinks he has the right suspect. And in this one, it's the guy who goes out of prison to reunite with his loved one, and then he has that parole officer who gives him trouble, and you think that's the movie I made, right? So that's how I write. Like I have like those 25 to 30 minutes which I play with your expectations to think, oh, well, I've seen this movie. I like these movies. If it's this movie, then fine. And then I like to steer away from whatever you expected and just find ways to entice the audience, entice the spectator, and give him a lot of emotions, and as many emotions as he could have in one movie.
I really like your opening shot with it's just on Jason and it's him talking to someone off camera and he has to show a lot of emotion. Can you sort of talk about how you came up with that's the way you wanted to open the movie with him talking like that?
Yeah, that was one of my first decisions. Is I wanted people to get a hold of Jason Sudeikis and Jimmy Ray, the character. Like I wanted them to judge him instead of the parole committee, because I felt that if I'll do like a simple shot, reverse shot, that will be a little bit simplistic, and we've seen it in so many movies. And you kind of judge Jimmy through the eyes of the parole committee. So what I thought of is that I want to yank the spectator into the point of view of the parole committee, so they have to listen to Jimmy's long story about his 12 years without any. And by the end of those 3 minutes, if he managed to steal your heart, you're gonna stay with him for the duration of the movie. And I also feel that as a filmmaker, a director, when you work with actors, I like to give them space. It's something I couldn't do a lot in Big Bad Wolves and Rabies, although there are long shots, also, long takes also in those movies. But in this one, I wanted to give them like space, so the film will have a more authentic, honest, real emotions. And I think that the long take and putting a camera on an actor and let him deliver a performance will make him even better, because the fragility you see in Jason Sudeikis and the honesty, and he's mumbling sometimes. He's like uncertain of that. There's awkwardness in the beginning, and I think it feels real because it's also real when you act that way, because you're afraid you're gonna mess that one take, right? And then we need to cut it and do it again. So all those butterflies, you could catch them. You could catch them while you're shooting it that way.
You have a great cast in this. I'm just curious, how did you? I was going to make a joke, but talk about putting together the actors you have in this because you really did put together a great cast.
Yeah, thanks, thank you again. Like I said, I was shocked because I was not prepared. Like it's a $3 million movie, 25 days of shoot. You don't and I'm from Israel, and I have no, my name is not that big in the U.S., so I had no idea I could even get these actors. But luckily, I had, Jason was looking at the same time for, it was before Ted Lasso. Great timing by me.
Yes.
Uh, he was looking to do something else. I think he was looking to do something not just dark, but broaden his horizon and show that he has like those incredible dramatic chops that he truly has. And I was looking for a comedian because I like to write. I like to go against type when I direct movies. I don't like to put whatever you expect of Jimmy Ray to be, because when you start casting a movie like that, the first name you're gonna get is those action movie stars that you see in so many movies. But I knew I needed somebody that his eyes are like these big puppy eyes, and that is a down to earth kind of guy, and you just want to hug him from the get go. And then I saw Colossal with Sudeikis and Anne Hathaway, and I knew he has that brooding, menacing, crazy eyes when he wants to go dark. And I said that will be amazing if I could have Jason do all the crazy stuff my script needs him to do, but still the audience will feel a deep emotions toward him and empathy because it's Jason Sudeikis. And now I think it's even harder for the viewer to see South of Heaven, probably because there's Ted Lasso in. So it's even more heartbreaking and more crazy than just seeing Jason Sudeikis before Ted Lasso. As for the rest, Evangeline again was looking for something like this. She's been in Marvel movies, she's been in The Hobbit, but she was looking to do something that will break the, because she says that she always get cast in the warrior princess kind of roles. She is always like this tough cookie, and she wanted a movie that will allow her to show more and more sides of her. Like, she's glowing, she's fragile, she could go dark, she could be feisty, she could be fierce against Price when she needed to be in the movie, and and have these great emotions with her co-star. And when they met, it was like fireworks. And what you see on screen is what happened on set. They were like, they look amazing together. Colter, I always again go against typecast. So Price on the page is like a villain, right? But it could be like if you gave it to like an over actor, that will be like the worst corny hokey character in the world. But when you gave it to Mike Colter, he has the ability to tone down and everything. You could take a line that could be like over the top, but he's delivering it so elegantly, and that's what I was looking for, an actor that could take something that on page is like could be over the top, cheesy villain guy, and then he will put it into his elegance, delivery. And also, I wanted somebody that could match Jason Sudeikis when you see them both on screen, because it was important to me to build a villain that will become sort of a protagonist almost, or the victim later on in the movie. And then, Shea Whigham came along, and you know, he's amazing. I think he's the best supporting actor working, character actor. He's not only supporting these days, but he's the best character actor I think the U.S. has to offer right now. He reminds me a lot of the actors from the '70s and those kind of people that came and just steal the show with one scene. And I call him 50 Shades of Shea, because he gives you like 50 interpretation to every line in your movie. And because he wants to nail it, he wants to be in the precise place where it's not caricature, where it's not like cheesy or hokey, and it's more realistic, even though he's doing like crazy over the top kind of things in the movie. And Jeremy Bob was a surprise too. Like, getting him into do the Honest Frank was a blessing. I really didn't expect getting all these great actors, really.
Yeah, well, there's no way you could. I mean, it's really hard to do. So one of the things I really like your shot in the third act. I don't want to do any spoilers, but it involves a house and Jason having to go, do some stuff in the house. Can you talk about filming that sequence, because there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, I won't spoil it, but I will say that I was looking for a way to do the anti John Wick kind of action scene, so it won't be like you're rooting or dancing and clapping your hands for a violent scene. So what I plan with my DP Matt Mitchell, is a shot that will make it feel more of like a horror movie, like a home invasion movie. So when your protagonist does what he does at the third act, you will be surprised of the way it's built, like, and where you are uh, in place for you look. I wanted you to feel as a spectator, as a judge, and not somebody who takes like he's not walking with Jason Sudeikis. He's walking outside his perspective, and can judge from the side what's going on and not really be with him. So when we thought about it, we saw a lot of Brian De Palma films, and also Takeshi Kitano's Sonatin, And I wanted that shot to be something that you're sometimes with the protagonist, sometimes you lose him, sometimes you go with the henchman, sometimes you get back to him, and then you lose him again. So you're never really with him, and it's very chaotic. So on the day, we'd have only 25 days of shoot. So I couldn't do it like forever. I had one day to get this shot right, and we didn't want to use CGI because I'm a true believer in practical effects and getting whatever you can on set. So so we did in one day. You do half a day of rehearsal, and then you have like limited amount of takes that you could do without needing another day. So we had like 7 takes, and that's it. So take one, the squib doesn't work. Take two, the muzzle flash doesn't work. Take three, it's all good, but the one guy doesn't fall right. So it was like after 6 takes, we're like, oh my god! And they came to me and they say, Aaron, just can you bullshit it? Like, can you just cut it into whatever. And I told them no, because this needs to feel like a true home invasion. This needs to feel like you living in the moment, because Jason is living in the moment, and I wanted that, and you get surprised from all angles. So we did a seventh shot, and that's the shot that entered the movie. And it was amazing. It was the best night. I think I never seen Jason Sudeikis so happy and so pumped like the day he did that sequence. He was like dancing and celebrating as if we just gone on the Everest.
Sure. I love talking about editing because that's ultimately where the movie comes together. What did you learn when you got in the editing room about the movie that perhaps you weren't expecting? And did you make any adjustments based on like feedback from people you trust?
What I learned is that I always believe in that you write a script and then you write the script again in pre-production, and then you write a script in post-production, and then you write it forever, right? So I always learn in the editing room that you could find out that you made a totally different film than the one that was on page. And with this movie, what I got is the love story needed more air than what I had on page. I knew, like, when I saw the movie, I knew I cannot just shortcut all the things that you usually do, like you delete while editing a movie. Like, Aaron, there's too much love here. Can you take off like 10 minutes of the love story and let's go straight to the action? So that's what I found out while editing South of Heaven. That whenever you try to make a shortcut, it didn't work. I did find out that sometimes you need to drop a scene that doesn't, elevate the movie or give you what you need, and that's it. And I also learned that you need to sometimes play with the rhythm more than you thought, because the script was like so well constructed, but then you feel that, okay, I need some more time in the first act, so people will believe the twist and turns better in the second and third acts. That was the most important thing for me to do, is that I needed people to believe what's going to happen in second and third act. So I needed to build a very strong opening, so once everything starts to develop very fast, they would believe everything that happens.
Yeah, I also think that like I really like that scene of Jason in the bathroom getting ready to come out after he got out of jail, and they're both just sitting there nervous and trying to figure out. If you, for example, if you shorten that, then you don't care about them. These are those scenes that pull you in to make you care.
Yeah, and that's like something that Evangeline asked me to do, because I'll be very modest about the screenplay. The scene was like not as good. The scene was like one of those cliche moments where Jason is in the bathtub, and then he pulls her into the bathtub, and then drinking beer together, and it was like so cheesy. And when I sent Evangeline to watch Getaway by Sam Peckinpah, and she came back to me and she said, in Sam Peckinpah's Getaway, there's such a lovely, honest moment when he comes out of jail, and they have that timid moment in the living in their bedroom. Can you do something can you write something like that for us? And I immediately went to rewrite that scene with all everything that you saw, like him by the scales, watching his tummy, her, judging herself by the, by the mirror. And that's the best surprise and best collaboration that you could have with actors that come. They know their arc better than you because they're concentrating on their part in the movie. So they come to you and they say, I think you could do a more honest job as a writer here. How about showing the timidness of that kind of moment? And I just, sped into my writing room and I rewrote everything, and that's the scene you saw.
Yeah, it's she gave you very good advice.
She's the best. She's
No,
truly the.
right. So I'm basically I am curious what you have coming up after this. Are you writing anything? Are you working on anything?
I'm reading and I'm working on a couple of ideas. I have an idea for like a pyrokinesis kind of story, with a girl that, teenager and then a woman. I have an idea for a ghost haunted hotel, but it's more like diabolique. So yeah, I'm writing. I'm just waiting to finish the launch of South of Heaven here, so I could go back and be in that headspace again. But yeah, I'm waiting to deconstruct more genres for the American audience.
No, listen. I'm going to say congrats on the movie for real, and I hope it opens a lot more doors for you as a filmmaker. And I just want to thank you for giving me your time.
Of course, Stephen. Thank you for having me.